Good morning, winners. Welcome to the Power of One. Yes, and so happy Sunday to you. In today's video, I'm going to highlight, a couple actually that is very special to me, very near and dear to my heart. Lynne and Ed Silverman of LSE Group. Yes, I'm excited to share this story with you guys. But first, if you are new to my channel, welcome. I hope this information is helpful for you and beneficial for you. I would love for you to be a subscriber, to like, to share, to comment on this video. I absolutely love interacting with my audience. And so first, let me introduce myself. One thing I've learned about, YouTube is that every single week there are new people that do not know you. And so you have to take a little bit of time to actually explain who you are and why are you sharing this information. And so my name is Terry. I am a self-employed entrepreneur. I am a single mother of 3, and I own a consulting firm that focuses on financial literacy and business credit and personal credit and entrepreneurship and first-time home buyers, investors, small business owners, everything kind of in that space. And I'm also somebody who had my very first son at the age of 17, and in my youth, I was in and out of foster care, in and out of group homes. Guys, I share that information for a reason, because it's always my message to never, ever, ever be a victim of your circumstances. But those things that may have happened in your life, that may be your testimony, are actually the same things that are supposed to empower you and motivate you to do so much more. And so, my goal, my vision, my purpose is to break generational cycles of poverty through learning how to leverage your credit to build wealth, through financial literacy education, and through learning how to invest in specifically real estate investing, because that's the area of expertise that I have and the thing that has actually changed my life. And what is the power of one? And so many of you guys, just by nature of what I do, remember I said I own a consulting firm that focuses on business credit and personal credit and financial literacy and helping people basically solve a problem. And so every single day I come across people, this is where they are, this is where they want to be, and they need help getting to their goal. They need a plan. They need a strategy. They say, I need help with my credit. I need help with budgeting. I need help with financing. I need help with knowing my best next steps. That is what I do all day long. But I hear you guys say, I. And what I want you to know is that you cannot do it alone. You cannot do it alone. It takes a team, and it takes people along the way. I mean, a good majority of it, yes, absolutely. Your work ethic, your vision, your drive, your character, your motives, all of that is dependent on you. But during this journey, there are going to be people along the way that are a connector, that open up a door, that believe in you, that help you solve a problem, that, kind of speak into your spirit and help you have a light bulb moment, an aha moment, and kind of grow it bigger and greater and do things a different way. Guys, there are going to be people along the way that can change everything. And so what I decided to do when I started the Power of One is every single Sunday morning, I go back, way back, and I highlight somebody different in this journey that has helped me get to this point. Guys, it's because I'm so super grateful, I'm super humble, and I'm just appreciative of the people who have kind of sparked something in me and believed in me when I was building this vision and this goal. And some of these stories, I never envisioned this life for myself. I'm just going to be honest. I did not even know that this is where I would be right now, but somebody planted a seed. And Lynne and Ed Silverman of LSE Group is a couple that planted a seed. And guys, a lot of them have no idea. Well, really, they have none of them because every week, I pick somebody different. I just shoot the video to share the information with you guys. None of them have an idea that I'm going to highlight them. And to be honest, I don't think many of them even realize how much they've impacted my life. And so my purpose for sharing with you is for you to realize that one person, one opportunity can change everything for you guys. So when you're watching this video today, there's 3 things I want you to keep in mind as I'm sharing the information. Number 1 is not only the importance of building business relationships and building good relationships, forget business, just building good relationships, but also maintaining those relationships. That's number 1. Number 2 is exposure. Guys, that's one thing that so many people do not talk about that is a game changer, exposure. And then number 3 is being resourceful, being able to get things done. Let me say this right now, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as somebody who may be the very first in their family to buy a house or to think outside the box or have multiple streams of income, saying I don't know or I can't is not in your vocabulary. Get it out. I never want to hear you say, well, I've never done that before, so I don't know how. I don't care. Nobody cares. Figure it out. That's what entrepreneurs do. We figure it out. And so I want you to know that just because you haven't done something before, or just because something is new and unfamiliar for you, unfamiliar to you, so what? Learn it. Teach yourself, educate yourself, do a course, do a research online, figure it out. That will carry you through this journey. So let me paint the picture for you. So we're going to take it way back. 2005, 2006 time frame is when I worked for Lynne Ed Silverman of LSE Group. So in 2004, even before that, I went to Poly Associates Real Estate School. So I finished real estate fundamentals, real estate practices, but I did not ever take my test to become a licensed realtor. This is important to the story because when I saw an ad and I responded to it and I ended up being interviewed by Lynne Ed Silverman of LSE Group, I had some schooling, in real estate, but I had literally no experience at all. Guys, I had no idea what I was doing. When they hired me, I had no idea what I was doing. Look, Lynne Ed Silverman, because I know you guys will eventually see this video, God bless you, because I figured it all out along the way and they had no idea. I think I interviewed really well. So they hired me and they were looking for an office manager. And when I worked for LSE Group, they actually own a consulting firm, own a business that buys properties, sells properties, renovates properties, everything kind of real estate involved. And so when I started working for them, this was being kind of thrown into everything, guys. I mean, property management, real estate investing, having multiple streams of income, lease negotiations, zoning, tracking renovations, managing subcontractors, paying utilities on properties. I mean, everything, event planning. They had me do everything. I mean, I was looking at HUD houses. I was scouting out properties. I mean, everything, guys. I mean, it was like a crash course in real estate and being a real estate investor, and I had no idea even in the beginning. And so when they hired me, they wanted me to do all these things. And for you guys out there, so I had no experience, but I had in my spirit, the spirit of service, meaning I wanted to do well for them. So when Lynne would ask me, I corresponded with Lynne a lot more than Ed. And let me just real quick talk about this couple because they had a medical background. They owned a bunch of properties in the Philadelphia area, in the University City area. And, they were building an urgent care facility. Ed, I believe, had was a surgeon, had a medical background, and Lynne was previously a nurse, and they were doing so many other things though. So when I talk about exposure, guys, this is my very first time being exposed to a certain type of person and a certain type of lifestyle. I'm just going to be honest. That was the very first time ever. What did I say? Teen mom, foster care, group homes. All I did was take some real estate classes. That was it. And when she hired me, I actually ended up being an independent contractor. So it was my very first exposure to even being an independent contractor, managing your expenses, having to pay your taxes a different way. I mean, it groomed me. You have no idea. I had no idea what that very first opportunity back in 2005, 2006 was going to do for me, what it was going to manifest. And so Lynne and Ed, super low key, down to earth. I mean, I loved it. I mean, when they say in a book I sometimes have my clients read is The Millionaire Next Door. And what it talks about is that sometimes there are people all around you, and it's the people that you least expect that are doing really, really well. The people are super flashy. They have Benzes and they have BMWs and they're living in the basement of their mom's house. Then there's other people who are jeans and t-shirts, super cool, flip-flops, drinking their Starbucks as Lynne. You know what I mean? Just living life super low key, and they're people that can give other people opportunities that can change their life. I absolutely loved it. And just seeing this couple not a great big corporation, but this couple that were building an urgent care facility at the time that owned a bunch of properties in the University City and Delaware County area, and also had this other, like the LLC that I was working for that was up and coming and kind of doing so many things at one time. I was like, wow, like regular everyday people live like this. Like I had just, mind you, I bought my very first house at 21. So I owned my house. Never did I even imagine owning multiple houses or renting out houses or renovating houses. I had no idea. I just was happy that I had bought a house for me and my son. I told you I was a teen mom at 17. I actually bought my very first house at 21 because I learned how to look good on paper. So when I was working for them, I was amazed. I was like, so you mean to tell me people own a bunch of properties and people rent them out and people are their own boss? They don't work for other people. It taught me so much. And even just, I want to talk about Lynne because I interacted with her a lot more than everybody else. You know what I mean? And I just adore Lynne. You know, I am friends with Lynne and Ed to this day. You know, they're on my social media, my Facebook and my Instagram. I am just so super grateful to them. But even Lynne, how she managed me, she was not like a dictator. She was not like, I need this done and this done and this done and do it by this. She was like, this is what I need it done and this is what I need it done by. Go. Like she gave me so much free reign. And so like when she needed something for zoning, when she needed something for permits, when she needed something for to be paid on a property, when we had to do tenant screens, when I had to do follow-ups, she would just say, Terry, this is what I need done. And then literally I would just have to figure it out because I had no idea what I was doing. But I ended up, because of that position, eventually being, you know, an alternate and then a zoning board member, then eventually being elected the vice chair of zoning in Yeadon Borough for a multiple. I think I was a vice chair for about 3 years until I moved out of that township. And then you can no longer sit on the board when you're not in that township. But somebody who had no experience to be elected vice chair of zoning, guys, somebody who like, even like the contractors, you know, when I very first started, you know, there was not a lot of policies and procedures in place. So they were buying properties, they were renovating them, they were flipping them, they were renting them out, they were doing all kinds of things, getting variances on them. And they needed my assistance. They needed somebody else to kind of be the feet on the ground, to kind of get things done and to also organize it all. So I remember like there would be days where I wouldn't see Lynne all day. So I remember I made like a summary sheet and I would like every single day I would give her a summary at the end of the day. You know, the masonry went to this property, the roofer did not go to this property, and we have a UNO, which is use and occupancy. I used to do use and occupancy inspections on properties with the zoning, with the township that the houses were in. You know, a UNO was done on this property, and we have two showings on this property, and this applicant came through. They're looking at buying a property. I mean, I would just give her a summary sheet at the end of the day to kind of outline, you know, pinpoint things in the day. Guys, what was I doing? I was creating value. I was letting her know it was accountability. It was credibility. I was letting her know this is what has occurred with your business, your properties, with your investments in this time frame. Even like coming up with a payroll system. So they had, you know, Lynne Ed Silverman had all these properties, but at different times there would be different contractors. You know, a plumber may be at this property, a roofer may be at this property, a masonry may be at this property. You know, maybe a general contractor just, you know, kind of gutting a property or putting up sheetrock somewhere else, and everybody had to be paid. So I even came up with almost like a payroll system, and even like these spreadsheets to kind of track the different properties, the values, who was at each property. I came up with these different policies and procedures that kind of help them be more organized and help them kind of see everything as a snapshot. And I just tried something. Guys, don't be afraid to just try something. You try something, if it doesn't work, you adjust and then you try it again. And that's what I would do. And sometimes Lynne would say, this is great, but can you do it like this? Or she would say, well, I don't really need this. Or she would say, Terry, can you actually come up with something that does this? And I would just try. Like that's it. I don't want you guys, so many of you guys try to be perfect. And I think that even social media makes it seem like, you know, you start a business on Monday and Tuesday you're a multimillionaire. It doesn't happen that way, guys. It's a lot of ups and downs, valleys and peaks, trial and errors, learning from mistakes, and it's okay. You know, the fact that you have a mistake or that you failed at something is just showing that you're actually trying. And so I appreciate Lynne and Ed because they did not micromanage me. And what did they do? They empowered me. Like today, with everybody that has either been an intern with me, or has worked with me, I actually manage the same kind of way. I am not super, what have you done? Where are you at? Blah, 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 on people's back. when you empower people, they will do so much more. And so even learning a better management style happened from Lynne Ed, because she would empower me. She let me have suggestions and let me make suggestions and let me, have input and let me sit in on business meetings. I fell in love with real estate working for LSE Group. I loved seeing the properties when they were a whole hot mess and when they needed total renovations and when they were gutting out, to seeing them be built up. Like I would, take pictures of we would take pictures of before and afters. I loved it. And I remember that was a spark of me saying, I would love to do that. Like, I would love to do that. Like, even just, guys, I understand that we're all, a lot of people that are in my audience are real estate investors, but I fell in love with the actual structure. Like, I love seeing a property that was just completely a shell, and then seeing it, getting the floors and getting the walls and buying the fixtures, and I absolutely just fell in love with real estate. And that all happened back in 2005, 2006, working for Lynne Ed Silverman. And so, you fast forward that, I had my second son, Devin, in 2007, and my third son, Blake, in 2008. And so eventually, because I just needed it was more stability, and I just needed I thought it was safe. If I knew then what I know now, I would have never gone back to corporate America, at least for me. I'm not saying, guys, I am never, ever, ever saying a job is bad, because next week I'm going to highlight how I started my business. Then I had to go back. And kind of put in some work as a consultant for another firm to get the money, to get the capital to reinvest into my business. And so I'm going to talk about that. But I'm not saying that, having a job or having a 9-to-5, like there are some people that actually love their job, love their boss, love their purpose, love their situation. Being a self-employed entrepreneur is not for everybody, but breaking generational cycles of poverty is, leaving a legacy is, sometimes having multiple streams of income is. Those things are, and that's what this Power of One is talking about, because that exposure to different people, different lifestyles, different even just ways of living and kind of going about building your legacy and building your empire happened with Lynne Ed Silverman of LSE Group. Me having, a different network. Guys, I'm still friends to this day with a bunch of those contractors. And I am still friends today with them. And there was actually, a personal situation that happened with a loved one last year, back in 2018 and 2019. And I reached out to my network for some assistance and for some guidance and for some support. Guess who was one of the very first people there? Lynne Ed Silverman. And, won't get emotional on this video, but, from me planting a seed and having a relationship so many years and years ago, and us staying in contact, and just us being supporters of each other. And we may not talk a whole lot, but I follow her, she follows me. I'm only a phone call away, she's only a phone call away, they are only a phone call away. That when I had this situation happen with a loved one, literally like a year ago, they were the very first people there to show support, to be encouraging, to be by my side. And words cannot express how grateful I am for them kind of taking a chance on me. And that was my very first, mindset that, I can do so much more. Everyday people live a completely different life sometimes. And even a book, I think I may have mentioned, if I didn't, The Millionaire Next Door. That's a book that I sometimes recommend for people to read, because it is sometimes those people that you just least expect that are doing amazing things. And everybody's not super flashy. Everybody doesn't show all their stuff on social media. Some people are building these empires and you have no idea what they're doing behind the scenes. And so I'm super grateful and appreciative for Lynne Ed Silverman, because number one, building a relationship and maintaining the relationship is something that, carried me through that journey in the very beginning of being a real estate investor and being a self-employed entrepreneur, being an independent contractor, and then having a genuine relationship. I'm so super grateful for them being there in, only last year when I needed some assistance from my network, and them being people that said, what do you need, Terry? What do you want? How can we help you? Like right away. Number two, the exposure. I had no idea, guys. You need to, once your mind has been expanded, and once you've been exposed to certain things, it's like you can never go back. It's like you're like, wow, like people live like this, people do things like this. Like that she planted a seed. She planted a seed in 2005, 2006. They planted a seed that manifested into me being a self-employed entrepreneur and having my business in 2017. You cannot have a harvest if you have not planted a seed. That exposure was priceless. And then number 3, knowing how to get things done. When somebody asks you, I think I said it on the very first video, entrepreneurs are the people that jump out of the plane and build a parachute on the way out. Stop saying I can't, stop saying I don't know. Nobody cares. If you don't know how to do something, you figure it out. Guys, even with this, if you guys look at my very first videos, like everything was a hot mess. And I'm still learning. I still don't even know how to edit. So I told you guys, I just press play, I start talking, you will see me just talking real to you guys. Like it is what it is. This is supposed to be real and raw. Not everything has to be super polished and super edited and super buffed. Like, if I stumble over words, I leave it in here. I want you guys to know it's okay to be you. It's okay to be real. It's okay to not have it all figured out. Everything is not, that's the problem with kind of like sometimes social media and the media in general, that everything is so perfect. Guys, allow yourself time to grow. And then if you don't know how to do something, I was saying about my YouTube channels, I literally work on clients all day, do phone calls and emails and text messages. And then I had dedicated and still do to learning something new every single day. I'll watch a video, I'll do a webinar, I'll do an online course, something. And so that's even how I learned how to create my YouTube channel and post videos. I would watch a video. How do you post to YouTube? How do you make a YouTube video? How do you have a YouTube channel? What is a description? What is a banner? And every single day, every single week, everything's getting a little bit better. A little bit. I have a long way to go. Because I've committed time into researching things so I can teach myself. And so I want you guys to just, no, nobody's done that before. Or I'm the very first entrepreneur. I'm the very first investor. I'm the very first small business owner. I'm the very first homeowner. Figure it out. Dedicate the time, the energy, the research, even sometimes the money. If you need some kind of training or coaching to getting it done, dedicate the time to figuring it out, because you have to know how to get things done, and everything is going to fall back on your ability to be resilient and your ability to figure it out and be a problem solver. And so, I'm appreciative to Lynne Ed Silverman of LSE Group when I had no experience at all, that they were willing to groom me. They were willing to empower me. They were willing to expose me to different things. They helped me build an amazing relationship with them, and we've maintained it. And they helped me grow. They gave me freedom. They said, get things done, and then I got it done. And then now that's something that I have implemented in my business today with my clients. And so I hope that information was helpful for you. I hope that those 3 points were helpful for you. And I hope that you understand that sometimes an opportunity, what you're going through today, may be the seed for the harvest that's going to come in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. So don't ever underestimate the power of one. One opportunity, one door opened, one connection, one person. Amen? Have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you soon.